Hi, welcome to Geos 2321, Geology, Resources, and Environment of Latin America. I'm Bob Stern.
I am Ignacio Pujana.
And we will be your instructors for this course, which we call GRELA for short. We're glad that you're interested to learn more about our neighbors to the south. This video is what we call a video syllabus. All UTD courses are required to have a written syllabus, which can be downloaded from e-learning or from coursebook. The written GRELA syllabus is there as well. GRELA is a unique course in a couple of ways. First, there's no suitable textbook, so course content is entirely based on 23 lectures. Second, the lectures are posted on YouTube for anyone to watch. PDFs of these lectures can also be downloaded from e-learning by enrolled students.
Let's talk about the course structure. The 23 lectures are each about an hour long and are grouped into 5 modules: Geography and Geology, Minerals, Energy and Natural Hazards, and Water and the Environment. Because it is so important you understand this, where these things are in Latin America, the course begins with a lecture on the geography of Latin America, its regions, nations, and important physical features. The next 4 lectures in Module 1 begin by outlining the cultural geography of the region, and then its physical geography. So the course is aimed to students who are likely to know little about geology. This module finished by introducing plate tectonics concepts and outlining the geological evolution of Latin America. The next 5 lectures comprise the second course module focused on mining and minerals. This module also allows us to briefly review the history of humans in Latin America. The first lecture in this module explores how and when people came to the region, leading to the great Inca and Aztec civilizations.
Next, we discuss how metals were used by pre-Columbian people. This leads us naturally to the Spanish conquest of the Aztecs and the Incas, the collision of civilizations, and then to a lecture on especially silver mining in Mexico, Peru, and Bolivia. The last lecture in the Minerals and Mining module explores nitrate and copper mining in the Atacama Desert of northern Chile, and how exploitation of these deposits led to a 19th century war and a 20th century coup. The next module is an overview of Latin American energy and natural hazards. This begins by explaining geothermal energy, which is especially important for Mexico and Central America. Next, we devote 2 lectures to oil and gas. The first provides some basic information about how oil and natural gas forms and what kinds of geological settings are likely to contain these. The second discusses where it is found in Latin America and some history about how these deposits were discovered and how these affect the region's development.
The next lecture focuses on increasingly important deposits of lithium needed for powering electric cars and battery storage of electricity generated from the sun and the wind. Mining dry lake beds or salars for lithium is causing environmental concerns and political unrest. The 4 lectures about Latin American energy are followed by 2 lectures on natural hazards, first about earthquakes and then about volcanic eruptions, both of which are related to the plate tectonic setting of Latin America. This completes the second course module. The next 7 lectures make up the last module on water and the environment. First is a lecture on the coupled oceanographic atmospheric phenomenon called El Niño, also known as El Niño Southern Oscillation, or for short ENSO, E-N-S-O. This lecture also let us explore the link between the trade winds, ocean currents, nutrient supply, and the marine food chain. Next is a lecture about the glaciers of Latin America. Alpine glaciers near the equator are particularly interesting because these preserve an excellent climate record that is rapidly disappearing due to global climate change, hurting especially nearby farmers who rely on glacial meltwater for their crops.
A lecture about the Amazon River, by far the biggest river in the world, is next. We discuss not only the river system itself, but also explain why it is so large and outline some of the remarkable animals and plants that depend on it. Following naturally after this, we lecture about Latin American rainforests, especially but not exclusively about the Amazon rainforest. We explore a number of topics, including the climate required to produce rainforests and their trophic systems and animals. We also explain why rainforests are important and outline how these are being reduced in size today. The next lecture explores the coral reefs of Latin America, which are concentrated around the Caribbean. We explain that coral reefs are remarkable examples of symbiosis with photosynthetic algae living in soft tissues of the coral animal host, and how global warming causes the algae to leave, leading to coral death and bleaching. The next two lectures explore things closer to the United States. First, discussing the challenges of sharing the limited water of the Rio Grande and the Rio Conchos, which flows through the Chihuahuan Desert between the US and Mexico. We explore how population growth in this region is stressing water supplies and the importance of treaties and bilateral monitoring agencies for sharing this scarce resource between the two nations.
The final lecture is an overview of the Antilles, where the people of 12 nations and 19 dependencies live in many islands on the north, south, and east rim of the Caribbean Sea. Many people do not consider this region as part of Latin America, but we think it deserves to be included as part of the course. The lectures focus on a range of topics, but are also intended to highlight most of the different regions of Latin America.
Now let's talk about how your grade will be determined. You must take an online geography test and score 90% or better before you are allowed to take any midterm. There are no surprises in the geography test. You can download a sheet with the 50 things that you will be asked to locate from e-learning. This exam is online and there is no set time or date for you to take it, but you are strongly advised to take it during the first or second week of classes so that you can get on with the videos in preparation for midterm 1. You must score 90 or more to pass, but you can take the exam as many times you need to get a 90 or better. The last score, over 90 of course, will count 10% of your grade. The 3 midterms and the final are different than the geography test. They are on set dates. We have made study guides for the midterms and posted these on UTDE Learning. The first midterm is on Friday, September 27th. The second midterm is on Friday, October 25.
The third midterm is on Friday, November 22nd, and the final exam is on Friday, December 13th, and will be comprehensive.
Each midterm covers material presented since the last midterm. Each exam consists of 50 questions, mostly multiple choice, but also some true-false and some matching questions. You will have 1 hour for each exam. There are no makeup exams, but you can miss one test or skip the final with no penalty. Or you can take all 4 tests and we will drop your low score. It is your choice, but there will be no makeup exams. The 3 midterms and final exam must be taken in person at the UTD Testing Center. You can take these exams anytime that day when the testing center is open. You must contact the UTD Testing Center to reserve a place for your exam at least 48 hours in advance. Last year, we had several students who forgot to do this and they failed the test. Don't let that happen to you. If it does, you wasted your free drop test. Also, you must show your valid UTD Comet card to take your exam. Weekly homework will count 15% of your grade. This homework will be a few questions about a video topic to be included in the next exam. The questions will basically be samples of the midterm. This is intended to motivate you to watch the videos regularly. It should be obvious that if you do the homework, you will not only get the 15% of your grade credit, but you'll also be better prepared for the midterm. One more thing will go into your grade. You will be assigned to a discussion group that will meet regularly. This will count for 15% of your grade. All you have to do to get full credit for this activity is to attend regularly, be live on the screen, and ask one question or make one comment per session. What about extra credit? We value your feedback and we will give 2 points extra credit to anyone who completes the online course assessment and emails one of us that you've done so. This is the only extra credit we offer. Course grades will be based on a curve. We expect that everyone who passed the geography test and has taken 3 midterms and the final will earn a passing grade. Okay, that about wraps it up. We do have some advice for how to do well in this course. First, pass the geography test as soon as possible. Second, get in the habit of watching a couple of videos a week. Don't wait until the night before the exam to watch them. Use the days before the exam to review the videos and the slides and go over the study guide. We encourage group study and making your own study guides and tests. We hope you enjoy this course as much as we enjoyed putting it together. Adios!